Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 25, Primeape Goes Bananas. The episode begins not with Ash for once, but at Professor Oak's laboratory, where he has numerous Pokemon, as, you know, you can't be a Pokemon professor without having Pokemon to study. These include Slowpoke, Poliwag, Dodrio, Bellsprout. As for Oak himself, he's busy drinking tea as his breakfast, because, fuck doing actual research. But then, Ash calls him. We can't be without our protagonist for too long. Oak shows Ash his Krabby, who's really getting neglected in terms of screen time since he's at the lab, and Ash informs Oak that he already has 4 badges and is well on his way to his 5th, being on Route 7, which is right by Celadon City. Oak shows him up immediately, though, claiming that Gary and all the other trainers from Pallet Town already have 5 badges, so Ash, you actually suck ass, and he also adds that Gary already caught 30 Pokemon, so this just makes Ash even more furious. Oak then asks Ash to catch more Pokemon, as he clearly loves Krabby a lot, he's been doing more with him than Ash has. They even have this little routine together, it seems. Ash then ends the call and returns to Brock and Misty, complaining like a little bitch about how far behind he was in comparison to everyone else from Pallet Town, and Misty and Pikachu just react by eating some rice balls that Brock made. But they, along with Brock, do eventually give Ash some encouragement, stating how he shouldn't compare himself to everyone else, reminding Ash, like, hey bitch, you're the main character, this is your journey, don't worry about what everyone else is doing, you'll get there eventually. Brock also tries to reassure Ash by stating that Celadon City was just, like, right there, in the distance, so he was essentially already caught up. Ash basically just ignores him, though, still being hung up on Professor Oak's request to catch more Pokemon, and for him, he's in luck, as he spots a Mankey that is ripe for catching. Ash checks his Pokedex, which actually provides data, unlike with Haunter and Gengar, as the Mankey immediately goes over to Brock, wanting the rice ball like a fucking rabid dog. Brock gives it to it, and the Mankey happily eats it on a rock, but its happiness is soon thwarted as Ash throws a Pokeball. Mankey does a little trolling, though, avoiding the capture by throwing the rice ball, and the Pokeball actually catches the rice ball in a famous meme in the Pokemon community, with Misty responding that Ash shouldn't have just thrown a Pokeball like that. That's a fucking rookie mistake. You obviously have to weaken the Pokemon first. Have you not listened to any of the tutorials in the games, Ash? They're annoying as fuck, but you have to listen to them. Despite being successful with its trolling, the Mankey is still pissed off that Ash would even dare to catch it, and goes into what the Pokedex calls Thrash Mode, which is basically just a really angry Twitter user, so Mankey chases after Ash, Brock, and Misty as they run away, terrified of what it would do to them. Brock tries to distract it by throwing a rice ball, but that's useless, and then, in some more Looney Tunes goofs and gaffs, Misty trips and falls, allowing Mankey to use her as a stepping stone to go up to Ash and attack him wildly, stealing his hat. Mankey then climbs up to a tree, taunting Ash like a little troll that he is, as Team Rocket spies as usual, wanting to catch Pikachu, which even Meowth admits is getting repetitive at this point, as they are never going to be able to actually catch him, let's be real. But Jesse and James shut him up by throwing him a ball of yarn. Fucking cat. Ash then comes to as Mankey continues to taunt him, and he even puts his fucking hat back like Ash does. Is Mankey gonna try and catch a Pokemon now? This just pisses Ash off as he climbs the tree to go get his hat back, stating how special it was to him, and that it was from a special Pokemon League Expo. Now, I always preferred the headcanon that his dad got him the hat, and that's why it was so special to him, not just a random-ass Expo, but I guess this is the canon lore. And hey, the commercial they play about it is pretty sick. Misty then reveals that she also tried to win the same hat. Imagine Misty with the hat. Imagine any other trainer with Ash's hat. And really, I guess that there should be other trainers with the hat then, right? I'm sure the expo didn't just happen once. Anyways, Ash climbs up the tree, instantly being knocked down by Mankey, though, who then jumps down with them. Mankey then spots Team Rocket, who have now revealed themselves and their plan to steal Pikachu, and goes over to them, playing with Meowth. This annoys Team Rocket, leading James to kick Mankey away. Someone call PETA, man. Brock and Misty get pissed off at Team Rocket for doing it, but they don't call PETA. Obviously, PETA are the ones to call in this situation. Psych, Mankey doesn't need no support from PETA, as when Jesse and James pivot to doing their motto, believing Mankey to be dealt with, Brock warns them that Mankey wouldn't go down so easily, and he definitely didn't, as he evolves into Primeape. Now, it's unclear how he does this, as he didn't even really gain any experience, but maybe he was just so fucking angry he evolved. Even after hearing Ash's Pokedex describe Primeape's viciousness, Team Rocket still shrug it off and decide to go and attack Ash and the gang instead, going straight for Ash's Pikachu after sending out their Ekans and coughing. Not worried about Primeape at all. That was a foolish mistake, though, as Primeape comes and hits Jessie from behind, knocking her into a rock. This pisses her off, obviously, and she finally decides to take Primeape seriously, sending Ekans attacking. James and Meowth then join in on the attack, choosing to attack Primeape physically, not just with their Pokemon. Brock and Misty, noticing how Team Rocket are distracted, use the opportunity to take the injured Ash to safety after he fell out of the tree, and Ash gets Pikachu to grab his hat, which has fallen off of Primeape by this point, due to his craziness while fighting. Speaking of the fight, Primeape was nothing but successful, knocking out Team Rocket entirely. He then notices that his hat is missing, and angrily storms up to Pikachu, demanding that he doesn't get in his way. Pikachu, being a scaredy bitch, decides to oblige, leading Primeape to get the hat back. Ash then orders Pikachu to use Thundershock, which he does, but it only ends up making Primeape angrier. This allows Brock to theorize, due to Primeape going on constant temper tantrums, its behavior resembled that of a small child. He adds that small children usually only act up when they're mad or want attention, so he tries responding to the Primeape with comfort and kindness, like a loving parent would, to try and calm it down. But this backfires, as Primeape sends him blasting off, even though he's not even Team Rocket. Speaking of Team Rocket, they take this opportunity to run the fuck away, as do Ash and Misty, who Primeape decides to take on as its primary targets, running after them as it continues to thrash. Ash and Misty decide to split up, so Primeape can only chase one of them at a time, with Primeape choosing to go after Ash and Pikachu. As for Misty, she's able to find refuge behind a rock, not being actively chased, which allows Brock to catch up to her. As for Ash, things aren't going too well for him, as he's still being chased by Primeape, who's destroying absolutely everything, including multiple rocks. As for Team Rocket, despite managing to get away, they decided to stop in the middle of the road they were walking on and dig a pitfall trap to try and trap both Primeape and Ash in. This plan actually partially works, as Ash and Pikachu, while running from Primeape not watching where they were going, fall into Team Rocket's pit trap. However, with Team Rocket being Team Rocket, their plan doesn't go perfect though, as when Ash falls in, he crashes into them, knocking Team Rocket into their own hole as well. Fearing for Primeape's inevitable catch-up, James has Coughing use Smog so that it creates a huge black fog so that they won't be discovered by Primeape. Ash immediately gets rid of the smoke though by having Pikachu use Thundershock, also foolishly shocking himself in the process as Pikachu had landed on his head when he fell in. Ash focusing on taking out Team Rocket was clearly a mistake, as it allows Primeape to catch up, cornering Ash as he tries to get out of the hole. Now, I don't know how Ash was able to almost get out of the hole, but Team Rocket wasn't. I mean, they were all shocked, right? So they should have been able to get out at the same time. But anyways, Ash, realizing the only way to stop Primeape from eternally wanting to chase him would be to make Primeape his friend, so he decides to catch it, noting how it was part of his goal anyway, as Oak has wanted him to catch more Pokémon. As for Misty and Brock, they had now caught up to Ash after deciding to stop resting at the rock once Primeape was far enough away from them, also wanting to make sure Ash was safe. Now that they knew Ash was safe though, they certainly weren't opposed to running now, telling him to forget catching Primeape, insisting that they should just run away. Ash reiterates that he needs to prove himself to the other Pallet Town trainers in Oak, and decides to try and catch Primeape once and for all. Ash doesn't make the mistake of just throwing a Pokeball this time though, as he sends out Squirtle to attack Primeape. But Squirtle's water gun does nothing but just piss Primeape off, so Ash switches to plan B, which is Bulbasaur, but Bulbasaur's leaves are too weak for Primeape as he just manages to dodge them and destroy them. This leads Brock and Misty to panic, but Ash quickly sends out his Charmander and recalls Bulbasaur, hoping Charmander can actually do some damage with its fire attacks. Charmander starts with Flamethrower, but unfortunately, Primeape is able to dodge it and punches the absolute fuck out of Charmander. Similar to Ash's Infernape in the Sinnoh Saga, these punches make Charmander so pissed off that its flame grows and it learns Rage Attack, which the Pokedex explains makes Charmander's powers more powerful with each attack. So, Ash watches in amazement as Charmander bites Primeape's fist, rendering all of its punches useless, and fires a huge-ass flamethrower, burning Primeape to a crisp. But not before Pikachu managed to steal back Ash's hat from Primeape, as Charmander was doing the biting. Ash then tosses a Pokeball at the injured Primeape, as it shakes and shakes and shakes multiple times, which Ash wasn't used to by this point, as most of his Pokemon had went in instantly. However, Ash doesn't have to experience the failing of a capture this time though, as the ball eventually does stop rattling, capturing Primeape inside. Much to Ash's satisfaction, which only increases when Pikachu happily returns his hat to him. As for Team Rocket, they finally are able to crawl out of the pit, but Ash stops them from going any farther, letting out Primeape to go attack them when they question where Primeape ended up. Primeape's attacks are so powerful due to it still being angry that it's able to send Team Rocket blasting off. Also due to it being angry, when Ash thanks it for its help against Team Rocket, Primeape simply hits Ash straight in the face, giving him a black eye. This leads Ash to immediately call Primeape back into its Pokeball, also putting Charmander back to rest in the process. After only a few more steps of walking, Ash and the gang then finally arrive in Celadon City, with Ash excited to finally get his 5th badge and prove himself. As for Team Rocket, when they blasted off, they didn't just end up on a rock or something. No, they ended up surrounded by a whole army of other Primeapes. But they'll be back in the next episode.